said. A panel of 17 judges unanimously supported imposing the measures to protect any evidence of crimes that could be used in later court hearings. Well, let's go to New York and speak to Simon Adams, who worked closely with the government of the Gambia in support of this case. Simon, welcome here to the programme. Just how important a decision was this today?
Well, it's a huge decision. I mean, it's historic. This was only the third case that's ever been brought against a state for violating the Genocide Convention, and the fact that the court issued these provisional measures today is a rejection of all the arguments that have been made by the government of Myanmar, first of all, to deny the identity of the Rohingya. They can't even say the word Rohingya in court, bring themselves to do that. It's a rejection of their denial of the genocide, and now they're legally bound to actually implement these provisional measures that have been imposed by the court.
It is all about preventing another genocide, to prevent, quote, all acts against Rohingyas. What acts are still taking place?
Well, of course, the great tragedy of what happened in 2017, as everyone will remember from those very stark images that were shown around the world, is that more than 700,000 Rohingya were, of course, forced into this massive exodus across the border to Bangladesh. So there is now almost 1 million people at Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, Rohingya, who are marooned there, essentially living in the largest refugee camp in the world. So the first question is, what happens to them, and what conditions can be created so that they can actually return to Myanmar with some rights and some guarantees of their protection. And the other part of it is that there are actually still about 120,000 Rohingya who are inside Rakhine State in Myanmar, who are essentially kept in what amounts to a state of permanent segregation in concentration camps, essentially, and their rights obviously have to be upheld as well.
You made the point right at the start that the court did not accept the justifications, her defence of the generals from Aung San Suu Kyi. Do you think that means she is now forced into a position where she has to take measures to defend those Rohingya Muslims?
Well, I would like to see that. I mean, it's an astounding fall from grace on her behalf. I mean, this is a woman who's gone from being a Nobel Peace Prize winner to being a genocide denier, to then literally standing in a court and defending the Myanmar's murderous generals from this case. And so I think there's immense moral pressure on her to uphold the court's decision, but that remains to be seen. And I think it now comes to the international community as well. Where is the UN Security Council? Where are the other states in the world? You know, why is it only tiny Gambia, the smallest country in Africa, that had the courage to bring this case to the International Court of Justice?
Just 20 seconds in terms of ultimately justice, because the court's saying the evidence should be held for a future case of genocide. How likely is that, very briefly?
Well, that has to be upheld. So, I mean, again, that depends on the UN Security Council upholding their part of the bargain now and making Myanmar do that.
Simon Adams there, live for us in New York. Thanks so much for being here on the programme. Thank you.